Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Salmenlinna, the CEO of House of Learning. Joining together on the stage with the founder, Miss Kati Nevatalo. Welcome.
Thank you so much. So my name is Salmenlinna. I come from Helsinki-based startup from Finland. As Anna mentioned in her original talk that sometimes you need to fail. I have failed many times. This is my seventh startup. I have been successful as well, but there has been like 3 financial exits, 1 bankruptcy, and 2 I don't knows so far. But a year and a half ago, I met with Kati, who explained me her idea and where she was with her invention, and I got really excited because this one is something very unique and very different, where you can actually make a difference for the whole world. All the previous ones that I have had, they're all related to pure technologies like location technologies or mobile technologies in general, or e-invoicing, or you name it, just technology consulting. Pure technology, just making money out of enthusiasm about technology. But this is something where you can actually hopefully make a little bit of money as well, but really make an impact on the world. But before I let Kati to tell her story, I'll provide you a little bit background and context what we are doing. It's actually very easy to jump to talk after the previous presentation, which ended saying that teachers and managers and executives, you need to do something because the world is changing. AI is taking our jobs away, or many of the jobs. They're creating new jobs, but the big problem is that the pace the world is changing today is just overwhelming, and the schools are not keeping up with the pace. It's AI, and it's everything else that comes with that, but it means that the information that is being educated to children nowadays, it becomes obsolete in so fast that as the previous speaker was saying, the schools are actually teaching the children of the past and not the future. Mark Twain used to be, or was a very smart guy, and he had this quote that he never let the school interfere with his education, which means, and it can be applied into today's world as well, because you are getting excellent knowledge and capabilities from the schools, especially from Finland, where we come from. It's ranked one of the best education system in the world. But there are some things that the schools still miss in their content. And it's really about the capabilities, teaching the capabilities for the future, teaching the children to become, to be able to be successful in the changing world. If you know your languages, if you know your mathematics, it does help you, but it still does not guarantee that you would actually end up getting a job. And we already see that today, that people exiting from high school or college, they have difficulties in getting jobs. And I think it was Deloitte that made a study that was really complaining that college graduates, they don't have the skills that are required in the modern world, such as system thinking or problem solving or communication, which is very different than knowing by heart some historical facts, even though that kind of information may be useful. But the most important thing is actually that when you are in the school, you want the school to teach you how to learn and be enthusiastic learner. Sometimes these are called like the 21st century skills, and if you go into any education event in the world, this is the number one topic that they're talking about in any education event in the world. So that's one thing, and then we have some other things that are problematic in the current school culture, and these things do make the learning very inefficient in current schools. Even in Finland, the learning, and this is like indisputable from the research side, that learning happens the best when you really understand the targets. And it is the student that needs to understand the target. It's not enough that the teacher understands the targets. And the traditional way of learning is really based on learning material. I mean, the teachers, they just follow what's in the book. They provide the exercises and assignments what's in the book. But when we are in a world where we need so much different kind of information and capabilities and skills, we cannot just rely on the publishers that they have created the proper book for us. It's the responsibility of the teacher to really let the children to understand that what they are learning towards, and let the children learn themselves and take the ownership of the learning. So some of the researchers use this term knowledge transfer versus knowledge creation. Knowledge transfer is that I'm telling you that you need to learn this. Knowledge creation is something that we jointly create new things, and when we are creating new things, we are learning so much more efficiently. And this is something where the Finnish schooling education system is right now going into, but it is very difficult to implement in practice. Another thing that the Finnish education system wants to get the teachers into is really have the teachers become more like coaches, because nowadays they are managing the teaching. They are being managers. And one thing, when you want to improve something, you need to be able to measure that. And there is no proper ways of measuring the teaching or measuring the learning specifically on those topics that are not these hard STEM topics like mathematics or science. There has been some attempts to solve this problem. Typically it is something that, okay, we have a problem in our schooling system, let's modify the curriculum. It's an excellent place to start, but it is not enough to have all the ideas in the curriculum. We just had a new curriculum in Finland, published a couple of years ago, and it's gradually starting to be deployed in the schools, but it is difficult. It does, in addition to just saying that what you should be learning, like the content of the curriculum, it is also stating that how you should be learning and how you should be teaching, which is a very good thing, but very difficult to implement in real life. Learning analytics is something very interesting area where we want to analyze how the learning has happened, but the thing is that from the education there is no data, and if there is no data there is no analytics. There are softwares that do analytics, but then the question always is that who is building or creating the data for this analytics? So excellent solution if you have the data. Then there are more like point solutions type of approaches, like learning games where you learn mathematics or languages or writing or reading. They are excellent, but still they don't have the whole comprehensive approach to the learning. Okay, is this problem worth solving? I think it is from couple of different perspectives. There are 1.2 billion students in the world if you count the early childhood education up to high school and beyond. The other thing is that it is actually a big global problem that needs to be solved. If we don't solve this, we're not solving or fixing the future. That was like Niklas Tenneström's quotation in Schloss, I think, last year. And another thing, why education is an interesting area from entrepreneur perspective is that the digital transformation has not happened yet in education. It is where we used to be in 90s. The rest of the world used to be at this stage where education is right now. There are like computers and iPads and stuff in the classroom, but not real application, except for some single point applications that help that. But now I'll let Kati to tell her story because she's the one behind all of this.
Hello everyone, I'm Kati and I used to be a classroom teacher in Finland, and I'm proud of having been a part of the most advanced education system in the world. One of the best things about the Finnish education systems is that it is constantly being challenges and improved. Nothing is taken for granted and everything can be done better, right? The world leading education research organization are there to drive the constant improvement. We have the best teachers and all the teachers have at least a master degree. Additionally, we have a strong technology expertise, making Finland an excellent place to run edtech startup. Education is seen a key value in the entire society. With all the knowledge as a teacher, I still felt the fundamental problems Samuel described in the school culture also exist in Finland. I wanted to do more. I wanted to give the children more. I knew that learning was inefficient because I had studied all the research and knew that I can do so much better. I was privileged to work at the same time as a teacher, teaching specialist and consultant in the city of Helsinki education sector. My role there included the evaluation of all education applications existing in the market to find a solution for the fundamental problems, but there were none. That's why I started to plan a concept of an ideal solution for the problem. I'm no corner, so I created a model that could be tested on paper first. I tested and iterated the model with my own students. For them, there were many failures during the journey. But the model got better and better, and the student motivation just jumped to the next level. And their learning results got better and better. That proved to me that I was doing the right things. As my students started to get better results and goals, creates also other teachers, my colleagues started to get interested what I was doing. I openly wanted to share the ideas to all, and they started to apply them as well. I started to receive more feedback and ideas, and the learning results started to be just incredible. Soon, there were hundreds of teachers applying my model in their work. It was also evident for the very beginning that all the benefits from this solution can only be realized with the digital application. Then we founded the company and started to develop the application.
So what we have now, we launched our beta version 6 months ago, and it's a house which encompasses all the goals and targets from the curriculum. It provides simple and easy to use tools for the children and for the teachers to manage the learning. And basically, it is a very intuitive way to describe and bring in front of the children all the goals that you are trying to achieve. You're kind of constantly being encouraged to assess yourself, which the children love to do, because as I was talking last week with one of our customers, a sixth grader in Singapore, he was telling me that this is an excellent way of telling my teacher how much I actually know about this subject, because traditionally she only knows what I have been telling in the classroom or what I have written down on an exercise or exam, and she is not able to go into my head. And with this application, I can show her that actually I am mastering this subject to this level. So they are really like sixth grader who had been using this for a week and a half. So he was already taking the ownership of the learning into his own hands, and that's really incredible. And very similar experiences we have had in Finland. Even though we're still at beta version, and only like 6 months ago that we launched it, but the city of Helsinki has made the decision to deploy this to all schools in Helsinki. They are deploying it right now. And then almost by coincidence, we happened to visit Singapore last year, and we were introduced to GEMS education people in Singapore, and it took them like 5 minutes to understand that this is really valuable for their business and for their children. And now we are running pilot with them, and then another school heard from us, and now we're actually running 2 pilots there. GEMS education is very interesting because they have IB curriculum, which is very like globally well known and very children centric, which fits our approach very well. But any curriculum can be applied into our system, so it is applicable to any learning. Our focus is from early childhood to high school right now. We have a small team, just 6 of us. It's myself, Kati, and then a bunch of guys that I've get to know in my previous startups. So very versatile team to, having the subject matter expertise that is coming from Kati because of her teacher background. This is not something that engineers try to push for schools. This is something that has really originated from the schools and from the pain from the teachers, and realizing that something needs to be done, because school is not just keeping up with the change of the world. We are seeking investment. If anybody happens to have their wallet open here right now, we are beside the stage after the speech. So really needing to do some further development, and Southeast Asia is looking very promising market for us right now. So as a conclusion, it's a global problem that somebody needs to solve. If it's not us, it's somebody else. But I think we do have an excellent solution for this. It's not something that would have been invented outside, but it has been created from inside by a teacher. And even though we are in early stage, there's already so much proof by the customers that this is something that we are on the right track. Of course, it is iterative process as it always is. And now seeking funding for expansion. Then earlier I mentioned that learning analytics is an excellent thing, but there is something that's always missing, and that is the data. What we have actually is that we do have the data, because using this application produces massive amount of data of the learning itself. We feed it back to the teachers so that the teachers can on real time see where the children are with their learning. So they can put their efforts on those children where their effort do make the most impact. The big problem globally is that there are too few teachers in the world compared to the need of education. And that's why it is important that, we cannot just divide the teacher time evenly to all the children. We need to be able to put the focus on those kids who need the support the most. And like the brightest kids, what we have seen, they actually want immediately take the ownership of the learning to themselves. The teacher doesn't really need to do almost anything, just provide the materials, just to provide the support and help whenever needed. But the kids, they are so, when they have the tools and capabilities and understanding of the whole learning and the whole path, they are so efficient in supporting themselves, assessing their peers, and teacher is just one small player in the big picture where they are themselves driving the vehicle. So that's it. There are our contact details, and if you wish to talk with us, we will be here for some time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that is the House of Learning. Thank you.